Research can benefit the world in many ways, with potential impacts across all aspects of society, from policy to culture to the environment. To give your research the best chance of making a difference, you need to think about impact in a meaningful way. Although it's best to consider impact throughout your research program, it's especially important at the outset. By identifying potential impacts early, you can put the right measures in place to ensure your research gets into the right hands and creates positive change. You will also be able to write a more compelling and convincing impact section in your funding proposal. This is where the UCD Impact Planning Canvas comes in, a tool which makes life easier by breaking impact down into its component parts. We have designed the canvas to reflect the systemic way impact should be integrated into a research program. There are 3 regions. On the left-hand side, we have factors relating to your research. On the right-hand side, we have factors relating to the impact potential of your research. And in the middle, we have the unique value proposition, acting as a bridge between your research and its impact. The best way to fill in the canvas is to use post-it notes, which allow you to be flexible in your thinking and make it easier to change your responses. Completing the canvas shouldn't take long, just 15 to 30 minutes of your time. The impact planning canvas is best illustrated with an example. Professor Dolores O'Riordan, Director of the UCD Institute of Food and Health in the School of Agriculture and Food Science, and her team have recently developed a new health food technology, a savoury snack that is high in protein and fibre but low in fat and salt. If she and her team had completed the canvas in advance of embarking on their research project, it would have looked something like this. The first section is Challenge. Here, you need to think about the challenges in society that your research could help address. For Professor Dolores O'Riordan, they are: many snacks are high in salt and calories, causing health issues. Lack of on-the-go healthy snacks apart from fruits and nuts. And increasing snacking habits amongst children and young adults, which is contributing to obesity. Next, to response. With the challenges identified, you can now set out how specific elements of your research plan respond to them. For Professor O'Riordan, the responses are: developing a snack that is lower in salt, calories and fat, and that is higher in protein and fibre compared to other so-called healthy snacks. And developing an innovative method to make producing healthy snacks easier. Beneficiaries. Now that you've articulated the societal challenges and your response to them, you can consider the beneficiaries of your research. In many ways, this is the most important part of the canvas. Beneficiaries are those who are affected by your research in some way, either directly or indirectly. They are most often people, organizations, or groups. But beneficiaries can also be animals, ecosystems, or the environment. It's tempting to only think about those who could be positively affected by your research, but it's also important to identify those who might be disadvantaged by it, so that you can think of ways to reduce those negative impacts. When identifying beneficiaries, it can be useful to group them under subheadings like policymakers, industry, publics, NGOs, and the healthcare system, and so on. In Professor O'Riordan's example, some of the beneficiaries might be the general public, the snacking generation, which are children and young adults, and the parents of children. These are indirect beneficiaries. Food and snack manufacturers. These are direct beneficiaries. And finally, we have policy makers in health. And again, these are indirect beneficiaries. When you are filling in your own canvas, try to be as detailed as possible. For example, identify specific government departments and policymakers, or particular companies and representative bodies. This will help when filling in other parts of the canvas later. The unique value proposition. The previous section looked at who will benefit from your research. This section addresses how they will benefit. Each beneficiary will derive different value from your research. In this example, The general public will gain access to a healthier, tastier snack compared to other products, and may experience better health outcomes. Food and snack manufacturers will be able to bring a new product line to market, offering them a competitive advantage. And policymakers will benefit from healthier outcomes in society and reduced burden on the healthcare system. Engagement. To increase your chances of creating impact, you need to think about how you will engage with beneficiaries during your research program. For Professor O'Riordan's research, the following methods could be used: conducting food tests and tastings with consumers, engaging with food and snack manufacturers to assess interest and understand manufacturing challenges, and finally, involving policymakers in a research advisory group. For your own research, you might identify dozens of potential beneficiaries, and you won't have time to engage with them all, so it's important to prioritise. Work out who stands to benefit the most from your research, and who has the most influence over your ability to create impact. Then, think about the best way to connect with those people. Sometimes it's as simple as firing off an email and arranging a meeting with the right person. Next, we move to potential impact. You are now in a position to detail the potential impact of your research. At UCD, we classify societal impact under these 8 terms. Your research will likely have multiple potential impacts in different areas. A good exercise is to think about how one impact could lead to another. Funding agencies may classify impact in a different way, or may have specific impact priorities. So if you're applying for funding, it's imperative that you align your impact section with the funder's requirements. For Professor O'Riordan's project, the potential impacts are as follows: economic impact through licensing intellectual property to an Irish food company who may go on to profit from this. Health impact to the general public via improved health outcomes from having access to a new healthy snack. And technological impact through improved manufacturing methods. Evidence of impact. It is important to work out what evidence you need to collect to demonstrate impact and over what time frame. In general, you should think about collecting evidence of 3 things. The first is reach, how widespread the impacts are. The second, significance, how important the impact is for each beneficiary. And attribution, showing how your research actually contributed to the impact. This evidence can take many forms. It might include data on a company's profits, references to your research in a policy document, or testimonials from attendees at an event inspired by your research. Considering impact early in the project will ensure that you have plenty of time to collect the right evidence. Back to our example, economic impacts could be evidenced based on licensing income and jobs in the manufacturing company that licensed the IP, and this could be a 5 to 10 year timeframe. Health impacts can be evidenced via the resulting health benefits of eating this snack versus less healthy snacks, combined with evidence of the number of people consuming the snack. And again, this could be a 5 to 10 year timeframe. We then move on to resources and project team. In this section, include information on the resources, project team and collaborators you need in order to successfully complete the project and create impact. Back to our example, they are specialized microwave to allow scale-up, and UCD Research and Innovation Services regarding the IP protection. And then we move to the final section, which is funding. The purpose of this section is to indicate what funding will be obtained in the longer term to support your research program. For our example project, options could be the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine, or Enterprise Ireland commercialisation funding. So, that is the impact canvas. As we said before, filling in your own canvas can be done very quickly. It should really only take about 15 to 30 minutes of your time. So why not gather your research team together and try it out today?